Hello and welcome to the Sleepy Scholar channel. This evening we're going to gently explore the tranquil science of healing. This incredible system is operational within you at every moment of your existence. Right now, while you're listening, trillions of your cells are active, communicating, mending injuries, and sustaining your life with an accuracy that surpasses any earthly machine. Each pulse of your heart is a wave of regeneration. Each inhalation provides the fuel for an unending sequence of microscopic mending. Healing is more than just recovery from harm. It is the continuous process of equilibrium and readjustment that characterizes life itself. Should you find pleasure in these tranquil explorations, please consider liking, subscribing, or leaving a comment. Doing so assists others in discovering this space, helping one restful individual after another. For the moment, however, simply breathe. Allow your eyelids to feel heavy and permit your mind to unwind. Let us start. Your physical form reconstructs itself over the course of several years. Inside you, regeneration is constant. Cells exist, perform their function, and softly perish, making way for new cells that carry on the task of being you. Bone cells are replaced over a period of years. The interior of your stomach is renewed in just days. The very top layer of your skin is also substituted in a gradual, quiet sequence. Nearly all components of your physical self at this moment will eventually disappear. The blueprint, however, endures. It is like the body retains the concept of its own form and persistently shapes itself toward that concept repeatedly. This perpetual reconstruction is not disorderly. It is a cadence. It is the respiration of biology. It is a cycle that never pauses. You're like an animate river, composed of shifting cells that move through time, yet you manage to remain complete. With each pulse, your body revises its narrative of survival and recommences the silent process of mending once more. Certain cells continuously mend the same tissues. Within the concealed strata of each organ, tireless agents exist solely for the purpose of repair. These are stem-like cells residing in the background, anticipating a cue that an issue has arisen. In your skin, their role is to substitute cells that are lost due to abrasion and sun exposure. In your digestive tract, they reconstruct the lining that degrades with every meal you consume. In your muscles, they remain dormant until they are roused by an injury. Upon activation, they proliferate and travel, weaving new tissue into its proper location with astounding accuracy. They perform this task ceaselessly, alternating between dormant and active states, between stillness and movement. A portion of these cells has existed within you since prior to your birth, holding an immaculate recollection of your body's initial design. They serve as a reminder to every system of what completeness is. Even when you're not conscious of it, these hidden guardians are mending the body you inhabit, one quiet restoration after another. The skin understands how to close itself, working from the interior outward. When your skin's surface is breached, a small commotion starts below it. Blood flows rapidly to the injury, coagulating to form a protective barrier. Fibroblasts, acting like constructors, migrate inward, establishing a framework composed of collagen. Fresh skin cells then travel over this concealed structure from below, shutting the opening in gradual waves until the surface is joined once more. This motion originates not from the air, but from the tissue underneath. The skin repairs itself from deep within, moving toward the surface, directed by unseen chemical and light gradients. Nerves and blood vessels come after, bringing back feeling and heat. The remnant of this intricate process is a scar. It is a tangible memento of an unseen intelligence. While you are asleep, these same procedures persist on a microscopic scale, mending the small injuries from daily living. The skin provides more than just a shield. It is an artisan that understands precisely how to restore its own completeness. Bones are able to detect locations where they must become stronger. Your skeletal system is not static. Every bone pays attention to the stresses applied to it. As you move, lift objects, extend your limbs, or just stand upright, small sensors known as osteocytes identify the areas of maximum stress. They transmit signals to cells responsible for breaking down old mineral, and others that deposit new mineral. Through this silent exchange, bones alter their form to match the way you live. They increase in thickness where load is borne and become more porous where less support is required. Following a fracture, this identical system activates, interlacing mineral and collagen until the bone's integrity is restored. Every mended bone retains the memory of the pressures that influenced it, integrating that memory into its very framework. This explains why astronauts experience bone density loss in zero gravity and recover it upon returning. Your bones are not inert supports. They are dynamic structures, responsive to gravity and physical activity. They adapt to every beat, reconstructing their internal composition beneath your skin. The liver is the sole human organ capable of regenerating itself. Situated under the ribs is an extraordinary organ capable of the nearest equivalent to true regeneration found in human biology. The liver can suffer the loss of a part of its mass and yet grow back to its original dimensions. When injury happens, the remaining cells divide swiftly. They are directed by a flow of signals that reactivate dormant genetic instructions. Blood pathways widen to nourish the emerging tissue, and the organ restructures itself, seemingly recalling its previous form. The regenerative capacity is ancient, possibly an inheritance from organisms that were once able to regrow entire appendages. Even when taxed, the liver persists in its quiet function, purifying the blood, managing hormones, holding energy, and directing chemical processes. It is never completely at rest. Its capacity to regenerate is a testament to resilience embedded deep within the body's blueprint. Within this pliable, modest structure resides one of nature's most definitive demonstrations that healing is an expertise bodies are inherently designed to possess. Nerves can relocate their original paths by tracking chemical markers. If a nerve sustains an injury, the body lays down a path of molecular signals. Cells located at the site of the damage emit minute chemical indicators that steer the regrowth of the nerve fibre. Schwann cells act like guiding lights along the former route, illuminating the path toward the muscle or skin that previously received its signal. This regrowth happens gradually, advancing millimetre by millimetre, as the nerve stretches over the divide aiming for reconnection. The brain remains patient, often for extended periods, awaiting the return of feeling and control. The exactness of this system is remarkable, as though the body retains its own internal map. While not all attempts conclude flawlessly, the effort is persistent. If a connection cannot be re-established, adjacent nerves might even assume the lost function. Mending within the nervous system is a narrative of endurance, a quiet quest for reconnection, steered by chemistry, recollection, and the impulse to feel once more. Your blood transports tiny messengers that summon repair teams. Every single drop of blood is not just a flow of red cells, it functions as a communication grid. When tissue sustains damage, debris from compromised cells emits molecular alarm signals. Platelets recognize these signals and quickly gather to create a clot, but they also dispatch chemical alerts into the bloodstream. These alerts call forth white blood cells, growth-stimulating factors, and restorative proteins. Some of these alerts even reach far-off organs, priming them for the work of mending. The bloodstream transforms into a dialogue, relaying information about the incident and providing directives for subsequent actions. This organisation occurs instantly, quicker than conscious processing. As you rest, your circulatory system is doing more than just supplying oxygen. It is overseeing a massive, unseen organisation of healing. Every pulse conveys not just vitality, but also direction, guaranteeing that every part of the body is aware of where support is most urgently required. Sleep is the period when the majority of cellular mending takes place. As you enter profound slumber, the conscious realm recedes, but the realm of biology becomes active. Growth hormone levels rise, signaling cells to multiply and mend. Muscles repair damaged fibers. The immune system assesses the day's events, tagging invaders and committing them to memory. Your brain also engages in maintenance, flushing out the chemical residue of thinking using waves of cerebrospinal fluid. This nightly renewal is among nature's most ancient practices. Lacking it, minor injuries persist, tension builds, and mental focus wanes. Sleep is not inactivity. It is a hidden workshop accessible only when you surrender control. Every night your body executes millions of invisible wonders, mending DNA, soothing inflammation, rebalancing hormones, and resetting cardiac rhythms. The more profound the slumber, the more potent the healing. When you shut your eyes, your cells commence their quiet transition from mere survival to active renewal, labouring in the darkness to restore you to the light. Even your DNA possesses an inherent mending kit. Continually, every day the DNA strands within your cells incur damage from sources like sunlight, environmental toxins, or the basic metabolic act of breathing. However, they seldom remain damaged for extended periods. Specialized enzymes monitor the double helix structure, acting like guardians that search for mistakes and mend the genetic code. Some of these enzymes fix individual letters in the genetic sequence, whereas others reconstruct complete segments. This intricate molecular work occurs millions of times daily, entirely without your awareness. If the mending is successful, the cell proceeds with its normal functions, undamaged. If the repair is unsuccessful, mechanisms are activated to either recycle the compromised cell or eliminate it completely. The body views compromised DNA not as a catastrophe, but as a signal to adjust and mend. This silent accuracy is one reason life persists despite continuous challenges. Profoundly inside every cell, evolution has equipped you with tools for endurance, guaranteeing that even your genetic code understands self-repair. Sunlight assists in activating the body's inherent healing cadences. The light of morning is more than just heat or illumination. It serves as a cue. Upon reaching your eyes and skin, it recalibrates your internal clock, aligning the hormones that govern rest, metabolic rate, and recuperation. UV light aids the skin in manufacturing vitamin D, which consequently fortifies bones and maintains immune equilibrium. Light further penetrates the brain, affecting serotonin levels, thereby elevating mood and steadying the nervous system. Insufficient exposure causes healing to decelerate. Excessive exposure means that same energy becomes detrimental. The crucial element is equilibrium. Human biology developed in conjunction with the sunrise and sunset, utilizing this cycle as a guide for determining when to develop, sleep, and mend. Experiencing mild sunlight every morning is a quiet message to your body that existence proceeds, that rhythms endure, and that mending is a daily ritual dictated by light. Injuries recall their previous healing process. A subtle memory persists deep in the strata of the skin. If a previously injured location is harmed once more, the adjacent cells react with greater speed than they did initially. It seems the tissue recalls the precise steps of mending. Immune cells mobilize quicker, stem cells activate earlier, and new blood vessels start developing immediately. researchers hypothesize that the body retains data regarding prior injuries, which leaves a biological imprint that readies the location for subsequent mending. Scars themselves can retain these recollections, influencing the manner in which new tissue develops where they are. Mending, therefore, is not merely a response, it is an adjustment, a practiced cadence polished by prior events. The body gains wisdom with every repair, retaining the insights of its own endurance. In its silent vernacular, every mended injury serves as an instructor, demonstrating to the next injury the path back to completeness. Stress has the capacity to subtly impede the body's mending mechanisms. If stress persists for an extended duration, healing starts to weaken. The system becomes inundated with cortisol, which is a hormone intended to ready you for peril, not for recuperation. Circulation is diverted toward the muscles, moving away from the skin and digestive system. This leaves injuries and organs awaiting their necessary nourishment. The inflammatory response grows erratic, increasing when it ought to diminish. The very immune cells responsible for mending injuries begin to lose their accuracy. Persistent stress also modifies the body's internal clock, interfering with the daily cadence of hormone secretion that directs cellular mending. This disruption is not sudden. It occurs through nuanced delays, similar to music played slightly out of sync. Luckily, the reverse is also correct. Tranquility brings back equilibrium. Measured breathing, amusement, and repose recalibrate the signals, permitting the biochemical processes of mending to restart. Underneath every taxing day exists the capacity for regeneration, merely awaiting the body's sense of security to commence once more. Laughter modifies hormones in ways that aid healing. When you laugh, your physical form turns into a symphony of renewal. Musculature releases tightness, the diaphragm provides a massage to the inner organs, and the pulse quickens momentarily before settling into a more stable cadence. The brain is inundated with endorphins, which are innate chemicals that alleviate discomfort and amplify a feeling of tranquility. Immune cells also react, growing in quantity and vigor. Blood pathways widen, enhancing blood flow to all parts of the body. The sound of laughter might appear trivial, yet its impact is profound, affecting biochemistry, feelings, and vitality simultaneously. Brief episodes of laughter can lower the stress hormones that impede recuperation. The body regards happiness as a remedy and comedy as an impetus for regeneration. Mutual laughter magnifies this impact, aligning pulses and respiration among individuals. In that momentary coherence, mending becomes a communal and biological event, demonstrating that the mechanics of recuperation are not invariably quiet or motionless. Immune cells also react by multiplying and becoming more active. Blood pathways widen, enhancing circulation throughout the entire body. While laughter might sound trivial, its consequences are profound, simultaneously affecting biochemistry, feelings, and vitality. Even brief moments of laughter can lower the stress hormones that hinder recuperation. The system perceives joy as a therapeutic agent and humour as an impetus for regeneration. When laughter is shared, the benefit is magnified, aligning the heart rhythms and breathing patterns of those involved. Yet, during that short-lived synchronization, mending takes on both social and biological dimensions, demonstrating that the process of recovery isn't invariably quiet or static. Tears include enzymes that offer protection from infections. Each teardrop consists of more than just a saline solution. They contain lysozyme, which is an enzyme that can dismantle the cellular barriers of bacteria. This innate protective mechanism coats the eyes, maintaining their clarity and shielding them from continuous environmental contact. Tears shed due to emotion are also distinct from those caused by irritants. Emotional tears include small amounts of stress hormones, aiding the body in expelling chemical tension via weeping. As tears flow down the face, they transport both feelings and biochemical substances away from the system, inducing a gentle feeling of release. Weeping is frequently perceived as an indicator of weakness. However, it functions as an exact mechanism for self-regulation. The body employs crying for purification, stabilization, and defense. Even an element as gentle as a tear highlights a deep biological reality, that feelings and immune function are intertwined. It also shows that mending frequently commences when we release something. The lining of your intestine is renewed every few days. The gastrointestinal tract is coated with cells that have short, rigorous lifespans. Immersed in acid, digestive enzymes, and microbes, these cells withstand one of the most severe conditions within the body. For survival, this lining regenerates every several days. This creates a new surface that can absorb nutrition while blocking harmful pathogens. At the bottom of every tiny fold, stem cells multiply quickly, dispatching new cells upward to take the place of those whose function is complete. As the old cells are shed, the intestinal tract stays whole, unbroken, and durable. This perpetual reconstruction safeguards both the digestive process and the immune system, as a significant portion of the body's defences is located in this area. If equilibrium is disturbed, tiredness and inflammation may result. Yet, even in that state, the gut commences its reconstruction almost instantly. Through its ceaseless regeneration, the digestive tract demonstrates one of the clearest manifestations of life's resolve for self-repair. The heart possesses the ability to regenerate a small amount of its own tissue. For a long time, the heart was considered an organ incapable of regeneration. However, situated deep in its muscle are minor groups of cells that have a restricted capacity for renewal. These specific cells activate upon injury, multiplying and specializing to substitute the tissue that was lost. This mechanism is gradual and not total, yet it shows an incredible capability. Adult hearts can even generate new blood vessels following an injury, constructing slight detours to sustain blood flow. Physical activity, recuperation, and emotional tranquility aid this renewal process by enhancing oxygen delivery and lessening inflammation. The cadence of the heart, its perpetual beat, signifies not just endurance but also continuous creation. Every pulse transmits cues that promote mending across the entire cardiovascular network. This sleepless organ does more than just sustain your life. It persistently endeavours to mend itself, showing that regeneration is possible even in the body's most relentless locations. Deep breathing alters genes linked to stress repair. Slow, deliberate breathing does far more than calm the mind. It sends a wave of mechanical and chemical signals through the body, shifting the balance of the nervous system. Heart rate slows, blood vessels widen, and stress hormones begin to fall. In the cells, genes associated with inflammation and oxidative stress quiet down, while those linked to repair and energy metabolism grow more active. Oxygen levels rise, improving the performance of mitochondria, the powerhouses that fuel every act of recovery. Over time, this simple rhythm of inhalation and exhalation rewires the body's chemistry toward healing. Ancient practices like meditation and yoga used this knowledge intuitively long before science measured it. Each breath is both a messenger and a medicine, shaping the state of your cells with every gentle expansion of your lungs. The brain can rewire itself after injury. Neurons communicate through elaborate networks, but those networks are not fixed. When damage occurs, surrounding cells form new connections to take over lost functions. This capacity, known as neuroplasticity, allows the brain to adapt, reorganizing itself to preserve movement, memory, or emotion. Even after severe trauma, the brain's structure remains fluid, guided by activity and repetition. Therapy, learning, and sensory experiences all help strengthen new pathways. It is as if the brain redraws its own map whenever parts of the landscape change. The process may take months or years, but it continues for a lifetime. Every time you learn a new skill or overcome a mental challenge, neuroplasticity is at work. Healing in the brain is not about replacing what was lost. It is about finding new routes for life to flow through. In this quiet flexibility lies one of biology's most hopeful truths. Memories can be rewritten by emotional healing. Memories are not stored like photographs. They're reassembled each time they're recalled. When emotion or understanding changes, so can the memory itself. Therapy, reflection, and new experiences can soften the impact of painful recollections, altering the chemical patterns in the brain that hold them. This process does not erase history, it reframes it. The amygdala, hippocampus, and prefrontal cortex work together to update old stories with new meaning. In this way, emotional healing becomes physical, reshaping neural connections and reducing stress signals that ripple through the body. It is possible to remember without reliving, to hold the past without being held by it. Healing then is not forgetting but transforming, turning wounds of the mind into wisdom. Each time the brain revisits a painful memory with compassion, it rebuilds itself in gentler form. Hope can shift hormone levels toward regeneration. Belief in recovery changes the chemistry of the body. Hope influences the release of dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, all of which support immune balance and cellular repair. When you anticipate improvement, the nervous system relaxes, circulation improves, and inflammation begins to subside. Scientists have observed that patients with strong hope often heal faster, not through magic, but through measurable shifts in hormones and neurotransmitters. Hope quiets fear, and fear is one of the greatest obstacles to recovery. It reminds the body that effort is worth making, that energy should be spent on rebuilding instead of retreating. Even the smallest spark of expectation can trigger a cascade of physiological change. The body listens to what the mind believes, translating optimism into chemistry. Hope in its most scientific form is a biological signal to keep moving toward life. Meditation speeds up cellular recovery after stress. When the mind rests in stillness, the body follows. Heart rate slows, breathing deepens, and waves of calm energy move through the nervous system. Under the surface, measurable changes occur. The activity of genes associated with inflammation decreases, while antioxidant and repair pathways become more active. Cortisol, the stress hormone, drops to levels that allow tissue regeneration to proceed unhindered. Regular meditation improves sleep quality and strengthens immune function, giving the body more time and resources to mend itself. The effect compounds over time as daily practice reinforces a baseline of calm. What feels like quiet awareness is in truth a physiological rebalancing. The brain's rhythms train the body's rhythms, bringing heart, breath, and cells into harmony. In that stillness, the body rediscovers its natural tempo, the pace at which true healing unfolds. Gratitude changes the heart's electrical patterns. The heart does more than pump blood. It communicates through electric and magnetic fields that shift with emotion. When gratitude arises, heart rhythms become smooth and coherent, synchronizing with breathing and brain wars. This condition enhances blood flow and lowers stress hormones, permitting the immune system to function with greater effectiveness. Individuals who practice daily gratitude exhibit reduced inflammatory markers and improved recuperation following sickness or medical procedures. The emotion itself engages the parasympathetic nervous system, indicating security and recovery. gratitude shifts focus away from deficiencies toward what lasts, establishing a physical state where renewal can occur. Even quiet acknowledgement of a brief moment can alter the body's internal condition. The heart is attuned to thoughts just as it is to circulation, and its rhythm changes when it registers tranquility. Compassion reduces the body's standard level of cortisol. Cortisol, the hormone associated with alertness and stress, maintains the body's readiness for challenges, but becomes harmful in large amounts. Showing or being shown compassion has been demonstrated to decrease cortisol levels and encourage recovery. When empathy is active, the brain secretes oxytocin, a hormone that counteracts anxiety and stress. This results in lower blood pressure, better digestion, and a more reactive immune system. Compassion induces a physical change toward a state of safety, informing the body it can restart its processes of upkeep and mending. Merely visualizing kindness can yield quantifiable effects, such as a slower heart rate and heightened sensations of warmth. Recovery is not invariably a solitary endeavor. It frequently starts with the basic acknowledgement of common humanity. Via compassion, biochemistry turns into connection, and the physiology of empathy evolves into the mechanics of healing. The placebo effect involves actual chemistry initiated by belief. When an individual trusts that recovery has started, their brain secretes innate opioids, endorphins, and dopamine. These chemicals alleviate pain, manage mood, and affect the immune system. This response is quantifiable, not imagined. Operating through the identical pathways utilized by medications, placebo effects show the body's ability to convert anticipation into a physical reality. This belief functions as a cue, informing the nervous system that mending is happening, urging all organs to synchronize with this narrative. This phenomenon is observable in brain scans which show areas related to pain and stress-reducing activity based only on belief. This uncovers a deep insight into human nature. Mending originates in perception and radiates from there. When the mind visualizes health, the body pays close attention and attempts to actualize it. Discomfort can diminish when one is simply heard. Pain has non-physical components. It is molded by focus and feelings. If a person listens empathetically, the nervous system unwinds, and the severity of the pain may lessen. Research indicates that the experience of being listened to diminishes activity in areas of the brain associated with distress. The person listening integrates into the recovery process, fostering an environment where stress dissipates and the body feels secure enough to relax its defenses. Interaction releases oxytocin, which suppresses the stress reaction and promotes healing. This explains how supportive environments enhance medical results, even absent novel therapies. Interpersonal connection modifies physiology, translating empathy into quantifiable effects. Recovery frequently starts with presence rather than medication or action. Hearing another's steady, gentle heartbeat can reassure your body that its mending efforts are not solitary. The immune system retains a memory of all its conflicts. Each infection overcome leaves an imprint via specific cells that recall the pathogen. When that specific threat returns, these guardian cells react immediately, manufacturing antibodies before illness can manifest. This physiological recollection can endure for decades, occasionally spanning an entire life. This is the principle behind vaccines and the reason childhood diseases frequently do not recur. Memory cells move silently through the bloodstream, remaining active, watchful yet inconspicuous. They embody the collective record of your interactions with the environment, forming a dynamic repository composed of protein and structure. The immune system possesses a durable memory. It develops alongside you, gaining knowledge from each challenge. It functions as a chronicle of endurance, evidence that every recuperation enhances your capacity for the subsequent one. Unseen, your body holds the narrative of its successes nearby, prepared to defend you once more. Fever acts as a purifying mechanism for the body. When an infection is present, the body intentionally increases its temperature. This increase is a deliberate defensive strategy, not an error. Elevated temperatures quicken immune responses, boost white blood cell production, and impair microbes that thrive in lower temperatures. Simultaneously, proteins are released to guide immune cells, orchestrating a unified protective wave. The feelings of heat and tiredness are just signs of your body allocating resources to combat the infection. At the fever's apex, metabolic waste is eliminated, harmful substances are neutralized, and compromised cells are processed. Once the danger subsides, the brain readjusts the body's internal thermostat, restoring normalcy. Despite the discomfort, a fever is a cleansing process, illustrating that heat can function as a remedy. In this internal heat, the body recalls how to protect its equilibrium and restore tranquility. Immune cells, specifically white blood cells, use light pulses for communication. Immune cells navigate your bloodstream like pioneers in a wide territory. They locate one another via chemical signals and also interact through dim light emissions known as biophotons. These minute energy flashes convey data regarding their status, alerts, and synchronized efforts. The immune system seemingly uses photons to transmit silent messages of preparedness and mending. Researchers have noted these emissions during immune activity, indicating light may be an additional form of biological dialogue. While all cells show some biophoton emission, immune cells appear especially proficient in this language. This light-based communication helps the body stay organized even amidst an infection. This finding suggests we are composed of light as well as matter, and our healing is directed by an unseen glow. Deep in your bloodstream, a quiet luminescence facilitates cellular connection in an enduring restorative dialogue. As you fall into deep sleep, your brain initiates a period of intensive upkeep, releasing endorphins. These natural analgesics are secreted to relieve tension and mend stress-related neural pathways from the day. These substances attach to receptors that mute pain signals, permitting the nervous system to concentrate on mending. As you dream, tissues throughout your body are instructed to synthesize proteins, fortify cellular barriers, and regulate immune function. Sleep's biochemistry is highly active. It is your most significant daily healing phase. Endorphins also assist in managing mood, cardiac rhythm, and metabolic equilibrium. While you rest, this natural remedy circulates, steering your body toward balance. The sense of well-being in the morning after good sleep is proof of the body's continuous engagement with tranquility. Cells communicate via electromagnetic fields. Each one holds a charge and generates a subtle surrounding field. These minute electrical flows are purposeful, directing growth, mending, and cellular dialogue. Following an injury, nearby cells modify their fields to draw in mending cells, forming an unseen guide for repair. This subtle electrical communication orchestrates tissue reconstruction well before chemical messengers get there. Researchers have demonstrated that modifying these fields can alter healing speed, highlighting the link between energy and physiology. Inside you, countless cells perpetually fine-tune their signals, maintaining equilibrium within their biological community. It operates like a precise, inaudible symphony of light and electrical energy. This silent energy transfer is an ancient natural language, showing that healing starts with unseen connections. Your heart produces a magnetic field that can be detected from several feet away. Each heartbeat creates an external, measurable electromagnetic pulse. This field radiates beyond your chest, fluctuating with your feelings and breathing. Researchers have noted subtle variations matching states of calm, stress, or compassion. The heart's magnetic pattern aligns with brain function, affecting focus and mood. In peaceful states, the field is stable and orderly, bringing the nervous system into alignment. During anxiety, it becomes erratic, indicating disturbance. This unseen energy can also interact with people close by, fostering subtle interpersonal links. The heart functions as more than just a pump. It directs the body's complex signaling. Its consistent rhythm is the body's primary signal of equilibrium, a magnetic field suggesting healing moves both internally and externally. Injuries mend more quickly when the body's internal clock is synchronized. This clock, the circadian rhythm, controls almost all bodily functions, including the speed of healing. The cells responsible for mending tissue operate on daily schedules. They function optimally when your routines for sleep, eating, and movement align with the natural rhythms of day and night. At night, the system elevates its output of growth hormone and melatonin, two substances vital for cellular regeneration. During the day, cortisol levels and wakefulness increase, powering immune monitoring and blood flow. If this cadence is disturbed by erratic sleep or stress, injuries might heal at a slower pace, and inflammation may persist. Synchronizing your daily routines with the sun's cycle aids in re-establishing equilibrium. Exposure to morning light, dependable rest, and consistent nutrition signal to the body the appropriate times for mending and for resting. Healing involves timing just as much as it involves chemistry. When your internal state and external environment operate in unison, recuperation integrates into the natural cadence of your life. Blue light may aid in mending specific skin issues. Light is not universally damaging. Particular frequencies of blue light assist in managing acne, eczema, and similar skin problems by addressing bacteria and soothing inflammation. When applied correctly, these mild rays pass through the skin, triggering molecules that interfere with detrimental microbes while sparing adjacent tissue. Concurrently, this light impacts immune cells within the skin, encouraging them to re-establish equilibrium instead of reacting excessively. This treatment emulates a portion of the light spectrum present in daylight, yet it is regulated and exact. While solar UV light is potentially harmful, moderated blue light functions as a remedy. It serves as a subtle illustration that natural energy possesses the capacity for both healing and harm. When the correct wavelength aligns with the correct application, light assists in recuperation, providing quiet, radiant support for the body's perpetual drive toward balance. Red light promotes the production of collagen and the mending of tissue. Specific red light frequencies penetrate the body to activate mitochondria, which are the cellular energy generators. This activation enhances the synthesis of ATP, the specific molecule that powers all living functions. Damaged tissues demand increased energy for reconstruction. Red light therapy delivers this necessary boost, aiding fibroblasts in collagen synthesis and reinforcing the development of blood vessels. The impact is mild, organic, and builds over time, renewing vitality internally. It is utilized by athletes to alleviate muscle discomfort and by physicians to expedite wound healing. This gentle illumination nourishes rather than burns or harms. Light, previously considered external, thus becomes an internal remedy, supplying energy to the body's microscopic power sources. Every cell takes in this light, converting it into action, mending, and endurance. In this vibrant resonance, the body recalls that vitality and mending are interconnected components of a single process. Stem cells are present in the body, similar to dormant seeds. Billions of stem cells are inactive within your bone marrow, skin, muscles, and organs. They remain in waiting until activated by injury or illness. Upon receiving a cue, They activate, multiply, and differentiate into the specific cell types required for mending. These cells possess potential rather than a fixed role, representing a biological reserve of possibility. Their responsiveness diminishes with age but does not cease. Even in advanced years, they react to harm, silently regenerating what is possible. Researchers investigate them intently, seeking methods to unlock their complete capabilities. The presence of these cellular reserves demonstrates the body's inherent capacity for hope. At all times, unseen potential rests beneath the surface, poised to activate when needed. Healing originates not from external intervention, but from the quiet preparedness already present within. It's possible to reverse the aging of old cells. Researchers globally have found ways to turn back a cell's internal clock. Through the introduction of certain proteins, mature cells can be returned to an immature stem-like condition, enabling them to multiply and regenerate indefinitely. This finding, drawn from natural regenerative processes, might eventually enable internal repair of compromised tissues. The body already conducts minor versions of this regeneration every day, removing compromised elements and replacing them. This idea contests the traditional view of aging as an irreversible process. Every cell contains the pattern of its youthful state, a recollection of ideal operation that may be reactivated. This field of study holds significant potential, offering a look at a future where healthcare could restore rather than just mend. This notion serves as a reminder that life is cyclical and perpetually aims for regeneration. Physical activity cues the body to activate its regenerative mechanisms. Activity is a traditional form of remedy. As muscles engage, they secrete chemical messengers known as myokines, which move via the bloodstream to other organs, directing them to mend and refresh. Physical activity improves blood flow, delivering vital oxygen and nourishment to tissues that require them. It also prompts the bone marrow to generate more stem cells, fostering growth and substitution in necessary areas. This activity lessens inflammation and stabilizes hormones, converting physical exertion into a healing process. Even mild activity like walking activates these systems. The body interprets movement as vitality and reacts by regenerating. The mild soreness following activity is not harm. It is a form of dialogue the body recognizes as advancement. Movement reminds cells of their function. This feedback mechanism makes exercise both a builder of strength and a source of restoration, showing that healing flourishes within activity. The microorganisms in the gut contribute to skin wound recovery. The digestive tract hosts a large population of microbes, including bacteria, fungi, and viruses that impact overall health significantly. This collection of microbes, or microbiome, educates the immune system, manages inflammation, and influences skin mending. A well-balanced gut microbiome generates substances like short-chain fatty acids, which circulate in the blood, soothing immune responses and aiding repair elsewhere in the body. An imbalance can heighten inflammation system-wide, impeding wound closure. Rebalancing the microbiome with fiber, fermented nutrition, and rest re-establishes equilibrium. The digestive system and the skin are in continuous communication via nerves, hormones, and chemistry. This connection dispels the notion of isolated healing. The body functions as an integrated unit. A calm digestive system often results in calm skin, demonstrating how internal equilibrium manifests externally. Certain bacteria educate the immune system on moderation. Not all microorganisms are detrimental. Specific bacteria within the body act as instructors, helping immune cells differentiate between actual threats and benign substances. These beneficial microbes engage with various immune cells like T cells, training them to react proportionately rather than excessively. Lacking this education, the immune system might target innocuous substances or the body's own cells, Contemporary lifestyles may reduce contact with these instructive microbes, potentially contributing to the increase in allergies and autoimmune disorders. Engaging with nature and consuming varied foods can help restore this microbial education. The body's internal balance relies on this dialogue. Your resident bacteria are partners, not just occupants. They assist the immune system in distinguishing between conflict and calm. Their instruction shifts the healing process from mere defense to informed understanding. Inflammation serves as both the destructive force and the catalyst for mending. When tissue sustains harm, inflammation is the initial reaction. It manifests as redness, heat, enlargement, and discomfort. Yet it is also a preparatory stage. Blood pathways expand, permitting a deluge of immune cells to clear away waste and pathogens. The sensation is severe because its purpose is protection. After the threat abates, anti-inflammatory compounds are dispatched to moderate the reaction, signaling the start of reconstruction. The very process that dismantles compromised cells simultaneously rouses the systems that generate new ones. Issues arise only if this mechanism fails to shut down. Persistent inflammation drains energy and obstructs renewal. Genuine healing relies on this equilibrium, the transition point when destruction yields to creation. Inflammation is not the adversary. It is the catalyst that illuminates the path to recovery, demonstrating that every restoration starts with transformation. Your blood's composition alters during periods of emotional strain. Feelings are not restricted to the psyche. When experiencing fear or rage, the body reacts as if confronting a physical hazard. Adrenaline saturates the blood, constricting vessels, elevating the heart rate, and shifting immune cells to a defensive footing. If sustained, this chemical state becomes depleting, diminishing the resources available for healing. Conversely, positive feelings relax vessels and boost oxygen supply to tissues. The blood environment stabilizes, transporting more growth agents and fewer inflammatory cues. Every emotion impacts your circulation, influencing the body's self-repair. This link between emotion and physiology is quantifiable, not merely figurative. The heart and brain continuously swap data, modifying chemistry to align with experience. Healing commences with mood, not just with treatment, confirming that our feelings alter our physical makeup. Healing necessitates minute electrical flows passing through tissues. Every living cell maintains a voltage across its barrier, a potential that steers development and mending. When the skin is breached or tissue is harmed, the local voltage pattern shifts. This change generates an electrical cue, instructing adjacent cells on where to mobilize. Fibroblasts, keratinocytes, and immune cells track this current toward the injury, much like metallic particles drawn to a magnet. Researchers monitoring these subtle fields have noted that applying analogous currents can hasten recovery. Electricity is not distinct from biology. It is one of its most ancient instruments. Life utilized charge and polarity for guidance long before medicine existed. These microscopic flows function as compasses for repair, aligning cells until equilibrium is re-established. Beneath the observable layers of mending, this unseen, steady and quiet force operates, restoring the blueprint of order to the disruption of injury. Your system generates its own natural antioxidants when injured. When tissue is compromised, unstable molecules known as free radicals proliferate, posing a threat to adjacent cells. To combat this, the body manufactures antioxidants, including glutathione, catalase, and superoxide dismutase. These substances neutralize the radicals, halting further harm and establishing a secure setting for reconstruction. This internal defense mechanism is remarkably adaptive, ramping up production where the need is greatest. Diet, rest, and emotional tranquility all bolster this innate chemistry. These antioxidants do more than just protect cells. They also transmit signals that initiate repair. They convert disorder into stability, redirecting energy from defense to growth. Healing involves energy management as much as structural mending. In every recuperation, the body executes a silent chemical act, transforming instability back into harmony. Chronic pain can be re-educated out of the nervous system. If pain endures long after physical healing is complete, the issue frequently resides in the brain rather than the affected body part. Neural pathways that formerly signaled danger remain active, firing despite the absence of a current threat. This conditioned pain response can be mitigated and eventually unlearned via therapy, movement, and focused mindfulness. Methods designed to retrain the nervous system instruct the brain to reinterpret these signals, thereby reducing the perceived intensity. Over time, fresh neural connections are established, and the alarm signal diminishes. This represents genuine rewiring, neuroplasticity, not mere imagination. The path is gradual but profoundly empowering, transforming persistent suffering into a chance to reorganize the body's internal signaling. Pain's original purpose was protection. Healing involves reteaching the brain that safety is returned. The nervous system is attentive and begins to let go once it comprehends the danger has passed. The human voice possesses the ability to alter heart rate variability. Engaging in speech, humming, or song modifies the passage of air, vibration, and feeling within the body. These vibrations affect the vagus nerve, which links the brain to the heart and numerous other organs. A gentle, rhythmic voice utilization enhances heart rate variability, which indicates tranquility and adaptability. This variability serves as an indicator of the body's effectiveness in adapting to stress. Utilizing song or speaking gently to oneself can decrease respiration speed and stabilize the nervous system. Merely hearing soothing sounds fosters coherence between the pulse and breathing. The voice functions as a conduit between cognition and physical state, an organic tool that adjusts the body toward comfort. Each vibration conveys data, reassuring the heart of its safety. Sound allows for the practice of self-regulation, converting air and pitch into a therapeutic form. The basic human voice represents one of the most ancient healing implements available to us. Communal singing aligns respiration and heart rhythms. As individuals sing in unison, their breathing patterns instinctively synchronize and their heart rates start to match. This effect, known as physiological synchronization, generates a collective feeling of tranquility and connection. The shared cadence of the group mitigates the stress reaction and prompts the release of oxytocin, enhancing feelings of connection and security. Choral groups and communal chanting practices have historically utilized this principle, employing harmony to pacify both body and mind. Scientific investigation now validates the intuitive understanding held by ancient societies. Sound has the capacity to blend personal rhythms into a collective larger entity. This mutual vibration reduces blood pressure, stabilizes breathing, and calms the nervous system. Singing transcends art or spiritual practice. It is a physiological event. Through the unified breath in song, the body recalls a sense of community and trust. Mending transforms into a shared experience, transported on the air, pulsing in synchrony with others. The vagus nerve links emotional states to immune system reactions. It extends from the base of the brain, passing through the heart, lungs, and digestive tract. This nerve constitutes one of the human body's most significant pathways. It transmits information between feelings, digestive processes, and immune function, guaranteeing that your emotional state influences your recovery. Upon the return of tranquility, the vagus nerve engages the parasympathetic system, which slows the pulse and encourages mending. It instructs immune cells to cease activity after a threat has subsided, permitting inflammation to diminish. Activities like deep breathing, humming, and extended exhaling activate this nerve, dispatching a signal of safety that permeates every organ it innervates. When experiencing empathy or connection, this identical pathway resonates, converting tranquility into a physical state. The vagus nerve acts as a link between cognition and physical matter, between affection and biochemistry, demonstrating that healing is fundamentally emotional as well as biological. Persistent loneliness is capable of inhibiting the body's recovery mechanisms. Social isolation impacts more than just the mind. It modifies the body's internal chemistry. Lacking consistent social interaction, the nervous system remains in a heightened state of alert, as if searching for threats. This leads to elevated stress hormones, rising blood pressure, and immune cells prioritizing defense over mending. Inflammation levels rise absent any injury, and the cycles of sleep and digestion become disorganized. Lacking physical contact and shared humor, the body is starved of oxytocin and serotonin, which are vital for recovery. Even momentary connection can reverse this chemical state. Merely being near another person or hearing a gentle voice signals to the brain that it is safe. Healing recommences based on that reassurance. The body is not built for isolation. It is structured for social bonds. Authentic companionship allows the body's biology to recall how to relax, mend, and trust in its own regeneration. Physical contact among friends can lower blood pressure. The sensation of skin-to-skin contact provides more than just emotional solace. It initiates a prompt physiological reaction. Mild contact prompts the release of oxytocin while decreasing cortisol, which in turn lowers both blood pressure and pulse rate. The system interprets this contact as a sign of security, indicating that a threat is no longer present. When touch and trust are shared, the nervous systems of the individuals involved align, fostering a reciprocal tranquility that affects both. Within medical settings, merely holding a hand can alleviate discomfort and worry, enhancing recuperation for everyone involved. This principle also accounts for the calming and stabilizing effects of massage, embraces, or interacting with a pet. Physical touch is an archaic remedy, preceding verbal communication and tools, embedded in our biology as a fundamental signal of comfort. Each instance of gentle skin-to-skin contact reminds the body of its interconnectedness, facilitating healing through a sense of inclusion. Babies recuperate more quickly when they are held. Proximity is essential for newborns to flourish. Direct skin contact helps stabilize their pulse, respiration, and body heat, while also diminishing stress hormones. Infants who are held tenderly recuperate from sickness more rapidly and gain weight with more consistency. The heat and cadence of an adult's pulse guides the infant's nervous system towards self-regulation. Significant enhancements are observed even in premature babies who receive regular touch or cradling. This close bond establishes a lifelong basis for well-being, embedding the understanding that security facilitates healing. The biochemistry of this contact involves oxytocin and endorphins, fostering calmness and endurance. This practice, often called kangaroo care, is utilized globally, allowing infants to absorb warmth and safety on a parent's chest. The results are both effective and physiological, demonstrating that affection has a tangible cellular impact. The body's initial instruction regarding mending comes from being held, where healing commences with the sound of a heartbeat. Empathy engages the identical neural areas associated with alleviating pain. Experiencing compassion for another's discomfort causes your brain to secrete endorphins and engage corresponding neural pathways. This mutual reaction provides comfort, not just comprehension. Empathy initiates oxytocin release, mitigates the stress reaction, and engages prefrontal cortex areas that soothe the nervous system. This impact extends internally, alleviating tension and diminishing the sensation of one's own pain. Offering empathy benefits both the giver and receiver, establishes a reciprocal cycle of physiological kindness where shared feeling promotes mutual healing. Research confirms this link is profoundly physical, connecting feelings to immune function and hormonal equilibrium. Shared understanding activates neural pathways previously considered exclusively intellectual. Compassion is quantifiable science, not merely a moral trait, illustrating our biology's profound reaction to empathy and presence. Oxytocin functions as a hormone for both social connection and physical mending. While known for its role in bonding, oxytocin's influence extends beyond emotion. It moves through the body, soothing the nervous system, lessening inflammation and aiding tissue regeneration. It expedites wound healing by fostering the creation of blood vessels and collagen. Oxytocin also regulates the immune system, dampening overreactions and fostering equilibrium. Activities such as physical contact, trusting interactions, humor, and communal activities stimulate its secretion. In secure relationships, this hormone circulates readily, steering the body toward recuperation. It is thought to be an ancient molecule connecting social bonds with survival. It signals that security permits healing and tranquility accompanies affection. During affectionate moments, cellular chemistry subtly alters. The hormone responsible for emotional bonds also repairs tissue, demonstrating a balance between human emotional and physical states. The system understands when to halt inflammation post-healing. While inflammation is crucial for mending, it must cease afterward. The body possesses inherent mechanisms that detect the absence of threat, releasing substances known as resolvins to conclude the process. These agents remove immune cells, pacify blood vessels, and normalize blood flow. Lacking them, inflammation would persist and harm functional tissue. This resolution stage is a controlled moderation, highlighting that passivity is as vital as activity. Proper nutrition, like omega-3s, and adequate sleep bolster this cooling phase, ensuring repair transitions to restoration. Pain instructs the brain, first on protection and later on release. Pain functions as a signal, not an adversary. It notifies the nervous system of damage, compelling the body to halt activity and safeguard itself. The brain gradually assimilates this feedback, modifying physical alignment, motion, and focus to avert new injuries. As recovery finishes, the pain signal fades, having integrated its instruction into the body's automatic responses and memory. In some instances, the signal continues past its utility, necessitating a deliberate retraining process. Methods such as mindfulness and slight movement help the brain re-identify safety, silencing outdated alerts. This converts pain from distress into data and from a caution into insight. This progression reflects the body's fundamental objective: to endure, to assimilate, and to adjust. Discomfort initiates consciousness, but cessation marks its fulfillment. Recovery occurs when the system acknowledges the threat has subsided and tranquility can be restored. It is possible for some individuals to gain deliberate control over their immune functions. Using techniques like disciplined breathing and exposure to cold, people have managed to affect immune reactions previously considered involuntary. By conditioning the mind to stay tranquil under physical duress, they initiate changes in stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, that modify the inflammatory response. Studies confirm quantifiable shifts in immune function, including decreased cytokine production and quicker recovery times. This capability is neurological, not supernatural. It depends on the intentional activation of brain-body pathways. It demonstrates that awareness can influence bodily systems once thought to be autonomous. Brief sessions of controlled respiration can enhance blood flow, oxygenation, and immune equilibrium. This finding disputes traditional views separating mind and body. In this context, healing shifts from passive recuperation to an active interplay between consciousness and physiology. Exposure to cold can activate mechanisms for cellular maintenance. Encountering cold causes the body to launch defensive measures that enhance endurance. One such measure is autophagy, the system by which cells eliminate compromised parts and convert them into fuel. Cold also prompts the secretion of norepinephrine, which sharpens mental clarity and lessens inflammation. Blood pathways narrow to conserve heat, subsequently dilating to increase blood flow upon rewarming, thereby boosting circulation. Consistent brief cold exposure fortifies mitochondria and bolsters immune health. This response blends stress with regeneration, showing that adversity often fosters strength. Cells interpret the cold cue as an instruction to rejuvenate, dispose of debris, and restore equilibrium. The method, whether cold immersion or brisk air, yields the same outcome: a minor managed stressor that rouses adaptive systems, resulting in a stronger, revitalized state. Abstaining from food assists cells in recycling compromised components. Intervals without eating cause a significant change in the body's operational focus. Rather than prioritizing construction and storage, cells pivot to internal mending. Via autophagy, these deconstruct faulty proteins and cellular parts, converting them into fuel. This internal maintenance lessens inflammation, enhances metabolic function, and decelerates cellular decline. Fasting is not starvation. It is a reallocation of resources, permitting the body to prioritize regeneration over digestive processes. Insulin levels fall while growth hormone levels increase, which helps maintain muscle and promote tissue mending. This internal cleansing may also lead to mental stillness and clarity. These cycles were intuitively understood by ancient cultures long ago. The body maximizes efficiency during these pauses. Recovery sometimes necessitates subtraction rather than addition. During the quiet of a fast, the body attunes to its own needs, reconfiguring its biochemistry toward equilibrium and regeneration. The body's repair mechanisms function in rhythmic cycles. Within every organ, healing adheres to patterns of activity and rest. Genes associated with mending activate and deactivate throughout the day, synchronized with the body's internal clock. During sleep, energy is channeled into reconstructing tissues and eliminating waste. During waking hours, the focus shifts to benefit and operation. Even at the cellular level, mending occurs in surges rather than a continuous flow, as enzymes, hormones, and immune cells mobilize in timed intervals. When these natural cadences are disturbed by inadequate sleep or erratic routines, recovery decelerates. Re-establishing regularity permits the body to resume its natural tempo. Each phase of repair accumulates, much like tides reshaping a beach. Healing seldom proceeds in a linear fashion. It is cyclical, an endless movement between exertion and ease. Within that cadence, equilibrium is achieved and the body relearns how to regenerate itself with precision. Each organ follows its distinct daily timetable for renewal. Every bodily system tracks time. The liver, for instance, completes most of its detoxification tasks at night, while muscles mend during sleep. The brain flushes out metabolic byproducts in the early morning, and the skin repairs damage most effectively in darkness. These routines are embedded in cellular clocks that anticipate the daily cycles rather than merely reacting to them. Disturbing this schedule with inconsistent sleep or constant artificial lighting confuses the body's repair agenda, slowing recovery. Conforming one's lifestyle to the natural progression of day and night restores balance. Consistency in eating, resting, and activity fortifies these internal rhythms. Each organ understands its designated time to purify, to function, and to mend. By aligning with the Earth's rhythm, the body finds its own, transforming healing into a precisely timed process rather than one of force. Nature, after all, has always utilized rhythm for healing. Injuries mend at a slower pace in the absence of gravity and space. In microgravity, the body functions differently. Fluids, including blood, tend to move upward. Immune cells become less active and tissue mending loses its organization. Lacking the pull of gravity, cellular signaling falters, leading to slower wound closure. Astronauts observe this directly, compelling scientists to investigate how mechanical forces impact healing. Gravity aids in directing circulation and supplies the gentle tension that keeps cells properly oriented. On Earth, this persistent force supports regeneration by keeping tissues active and aligned. The weightlessness of space underscores our dependency on planetary conditions for health. Research conducted on orbital stations has provided fresh insights into bone density loss, muscle regeneration, and injury repair. The apparent stillness of space actually challenges the body's equilibrium. Healing, it appears, involves not just chemistry but also physics, a cooperative relationship between the body and the invisible force that tethers it to its home. Astronauts utilize red light to support tissue recovery. On missions far from Earth, where healing is sluggish and stress levels are high, red light therapy is employed to assist recuperation. These specific wavelengths energize mitochondria, increasing energy production within cells that are compromised by microgravity. This additional energy powers collagen synthesis, mitigates inflammation, and accelerates the mending of muscle and bone. This light also assists in regulating the circadian rhythm when natural day-night cues are absent, enabling the body to preserve its cycles of rest and function. Similar technology is applied on Earth to manage burns, scars, and muscle soreness. It serves as a reminder that the fundamentals of healing remain linked to light and rhythm, even in the vacuum of space. The same mild illumination that fosters life on Earth accompanies humanity into orbit, acting as a therapeutic reminder of sunlight for the body's continuous regeneration. Your heart generates new cells throughout your entire life. Once thought incapable of regeneration, the heart actually replaces a small percentage of its cells annually. While the process is gradual, it persists from youth into advanced age, swapping worn cells for new ones derived from resident progenitor cells. Physical activity and emotional equilibrium facilitate this renewal by enhancing circulation and lessening stress on the tissue. Over time, the cumulative result helps preserve function and resilience. The heart's persistence is one of biology's quiet wonders. Its uninterrupted rhythm exists alongside ongoing transformation. It transports not just blood but also continuity, replacing parts of itself without stopping. Specialized immune cells within the brain assist in removing deceased neurons. Within the brain, specific cells known as microglia constantly move among the neurons, providing protection and cleaning services. If a neuron perishes or sustains damage, these microglia consume the resulting waste, which helps prevent inflammation and clears room for new neural pathways. Microglia increase their activity significantly during sleep, clearing out toxins and the metabolic byproducts. This regular nightly maintenance bolsters memory and learning processes, helping the brain maintain its health and acuity. Lacking this upkeep, cellular debris would build up, impeding neural communication and impairing function. The immune cells of the brain operate with exactness, understanding the right time for activity and rest. They signify the body's capacity for mending even within the brain itself, transforming loss into regeneration. This unseen custodial work, which might even be related to the fading of dreams or memories, keeps the neural network operational for future thoughts. Through their silent efforts, the brain's immune cells maintain both mental peace and clarity. Microglia also reconstruct synaptic connections following trauma. After the brain endures an injury, microglia transition their function from maintenance to construction. They secrete substances that prompt neurons to grow new extensions and establish new synapses, thereby mending compromised neural circuits. This mechanism might last for several weeks or months, yet it demonstrates the same inherent drive for regeneration seen elsewhere in the body. Microglia interact with other auxiliary cells, organising a gradual recovery process. The environment they foster dictates the extent of functional restoration. Their efforts are guided by mild stimulation, learning activities and sensory data, which help remind the brain of its previous operational patterns. Every flicker of memory aids in this rebuilding. The neural network retains the ability to forge new routes even after sustaining damage. This confirms that brain healing is an ongoing adaptive process, not a singular occurrence. Within the quiet realm of cognition, these cells reconstruct pathways, synapse by synapse. The blood-brain barrier possesses the ability to mend itself following an injury. A fine barrier shields the brain by regulating substances entering from the blood. If this barrier is compromised by trauma or sickness, damaging substances may enter, triggering inflammation. However, the body rapidly initiates repairs on this barrier. Cells lining the brain's microvessels, endothelial cells, reinforce their connections, directed by cis signals from adjacent neurons and immune cells. Astrocytes, star-shaped cells, deploy their extensions, secreting growth factors that help reseal the barrier. Equilibrium is typically re-established within days or weeks, averting additional damage. This mechanism illustrates that even highly intricate biological systems have innate mending capabilities. The blood-brain barrier is dynamic, adaptable and watchful, not static. Its mending capability reflects the brain's own adaptability, showing how defense and regeneration are intertwined. This ongoing upkeep provides assurance that the brain can simultaneously protect and repair itself. The heart is capable of generating new blood vessels following an obstruction. Within the heart muscle, cells emit signals that promote the development of new vessels. These new vessels create fine pathways circumventing the obstruction, resupplying oxygen to deprived tissue. This adaptive mechanism is gradual and subtle, steered by chemical concentrations that serve as unseen guides across the compromised area. Each emerging vessel navigates by detecting the areas with the greatest oxygen deficit. Eventually, this autonomous mending can re-establish blood flow to previously ischemic regions. This regeneration is supported by exercise, mild activity, and adequate nutrition. The heart evidently does not readily concede to damage. It counters challenges by structurally adapting, forging new routes for circulation to persist. Every beat carries the promise of recovery, shaped by nature's determination to endure. Collateral circulation provides a form of natural bypass. The body contains an exceptional backup system for blood routing. This system consists of minute, frequently dormant vessels that remain inactive until required. If a primary artery narrows or becomes obstructed, these minor conduits widen and activate. They establish alternative routes, allowing blood to reach the intended location. This represents nature's inherent detour mechanism, a silent feat of engineering that safeguards crucial tissues. This collateral network develops slowly, directed by pressure variations and chemical signals. Its strength increases with gentle stimulation from activity and the demand for oxygen. This concealed system helps explain why some individuals tolerate cardiac or cerebral blockages better than others. It is a result of preparation embedded in the circulatory system's design, not mere chance. When one route is blocked, an alternative opens, demonstrating life's remarkable persistence. Scar tissue within the heart can undergo changes over time. Following an injury, the heart develops scar tissue, which was previously considered unchangeable. However, scars are not inert. Over extended periods, the cells within them can adjust, soften, and restructure. Fibroblasts, the cells that produce connective tissue, might even transition into cells resembling muscle, aiding the heart's flexibility. This slow transformation enhances the heart's pumping efficiency. Research indicates this process is guided by electrical cues, hormones, and subtle physical pressures. Consequently, the heart's mending is an active, not a fixed process. It is a prolonged interplay between structural integrity and regeneration. This process can be positively influenced by exercise, diet, and stress mitigation, fostering strength without rigidity. Even compromised tissue holds a memory of its intended rhythm, gradually realigning with the pulse of life. The heart quietly demonstrates that scars too can evolve, converting injury into resilience. Capillaries extend toward tissue that is lacking oxygen. When cells are cut off from oxygen, they emit alerts that request assistance. The body responds by developing new capillaries to supply blood to those specific locations. This mechanism, angiogenesis, proceeds with remarkable precision. The endothelial cells lining the vessels start to proliferate, tracking chemical guides. Similar to explorers searching for air, they construct new pathways that integrate with the old, re-establishing circulation. This capacity for expansion is essential for healing wounds, developing muscle, and recovering from harm. It even assists new organs in integrating after transplantation. Each small vessel is a component of the body's dynamic structure, created exactly where required. The outcome is orderly growth tailored to a specific need. In every repair, the circulatory system evaluates, adapts, and redraws its internal map. Aging cells emit chemicals that signal for their replacements. As cells near the conclusion of their functional life, they don't just disappear. Prior to being eliminated, they transmit signals that summon younger cells to fill their role. These substances attract stem cells and immune cells, managing both the removal and the renewal of the tissue. It functions like a biological relay, transferring responsibility from the old cell to the new. This process, sometimes known as senescence-associated signaling, is scientifically complex but inherently elegant. It guarantees that all parts of the body stay in communication with their own aging process, avoiding stagnation. The departing cells signal their exit with directives for regeneration, turning deterioration into an opportunity. This dialogue is crucial for maintaining tissue equilibrium and form. Even conclusions harbour new beginnings. The body, always economical, utilizes loss as a mechanism to recall how to restart. Skin cells migrate over injuries to reconnect the edges. When the skin sustains a break, cells located at the wound's periphery start to mobilize. They alter their shape, extend small protrusions, and move toward one another, similar to explorers navigating a gap. Steered by electrical patterns and chemical indicators, they detect the open area of the wound and the sections that are beginning to mend. Their progression is unhurried yet steady, a unified advance of countless individual units operating in concert. Concurrently, underlying layers develop, closing the breach from beneath while restoring the structure above. This cellular organization is remarkably complex. When the surfaces make contact, the cells cease their movement, recognizing through molecular signals that their task is finished. This quiet process of motion and signaling underlies every mended injury. The skin does not await external commands. It instinctively knows how to locate its counterpart and restore its completeness. Fibroblasts function like weavers, producing biological threads of collagen. Deep inside a mending wound, fibroblasts arrive to perform a specialized task. They generate collagen strands that interlace, establishing a framework for the new tissue. These strands possess both flexibility and resilience, enabling the wound to contract while preserving its form. As the mending advances, these fibroblasts refine the structure, substituting the initial coarser fibers with more precise ones that integrate with the surrounding skin. Collagen is the component that provides tissue with its durability and feel. Lacking these cellular artisans, injuries would not be able to close. They react to growth factors, electrical cues, and physical tension, tailoring each repair to the body's requirements. In time, the framework they construct may become virtually identical to the tissue it has replaced. Fibroblasts illustrate that healing is a craft as well as a science, a slow artistic process occurring beneath our awareness. Macrophages adjust their function after the initial defense phase is complete. Following an injury, macrophages act like first responders, converging on the site to clear out bacteria and waste. After the immediate threat is neutralized, they undergo a significant functional shift. Their internal chemistry alters, and they start to secrete compounds that reduce inflammation and promote tissue mending. They transition from a defensive role to a reconstructive one. This adaptability makes them crucial regulators of the healing process. If this functional switch failed, inflammation would persist and harm healthy tissue. Their capacity to discern when to defend and when to nurture is key to a balanced recovery. These immune cells also interact with fibroblasts and stem cells, overseeing the reconstruction of the tissue. Their behavior demonstrates that healing involves more than just resistance. It also requires cessation. This transition embodies the wisdom of equilibrium, showing that repair necessitates both assertion and surrender. Platelets serve as the initial designers of tissue mending. When bleeding starts, platelets are the first to arrive. They're not merely cell debris, but sophisticated units carrying chemical directives. At the wound site, they aggregate to create a clot, stopping the blood loss. But their function continues beyond that. They discharge growth factors that attract fibroblasts, immune cells, and endothelial cells, initiating the reconstruction phase. Each platelet functions as a miniature architectural guide, outlining the repair area and assigning tasks. They evolve from being simple plugs to orchestrators of the healing process. Contemporary medicine utilizes platelet-rich therapies to hasten recovery, emulating the body's natural process. The clot formed is not just a barrier, it is the initial design for renewal, crafted from living material. Through the silent work of these basic particles, the body commences its restorative work. Pain signals instruct the brain on where to direct healing efforts. Pain is a functional biological signal, not a flaw. Upon tissue injury, nerves transmit electrical alerts, informing the brain of the specific location needing attention. The brain reacts by boosting blood flow to that area, dispatching anti-inflammatory agents, and initiating local repair mechanisms. While pain is perceived as discomfort, it also serves as a directional cue. It informs both consciousness and the body where support is required. As recovery progresses, the nerve signals diminish and the sensation subsides. Persistent chronic pain often indicates this signaling loop has not properly concluded, necessitating re-education through activity and focused awareness. Pain, therefore, is a dialogue, not just an alarm. It facilitates the body's learning, adaptation, and defense refinement. The brain archives immune memories similar to retaining lessons. When the immune system combats an infection, it generates a record that is stored in the brain. Specific neurons retain the patterns of the stress reaction and the subsequent recovery, which enables quicker and more effective coordination in the future. The brain and immune system then interact using common molecules, such as cytokines and neurotransmitters. This recollection influences the progression of future healing, guiding the body to react with accuracy rather than alarm. One's emotional condition is also a factor. A tranquil mind fosters milder immune responses, whereas fear or fatigue can intensify inflammation. Consequently, the body and mind adapt jointly through every event. Healing transcends mere physical mending. It involves enhancing wisdom throughout these interconnected systems. With each recuperation, the brain logs the sensation of resilience. These records join your internal archive of survival skills, making sure subsequent challenges are met with the assuredness derived from past healing. Hormones manage the coordination of healing among different organs. The endocrine system functions like a conductor, guaranteeing all organs mend harmoniously. Hormones such as cortisol, growth hormone, insulin, and thyroid hormone transmit signals that affect the repair process. If one system experiences difficulty, others adapt to offset it. Growth hormone promotes cellular multiplication, and insulin facilitates glucose delivery to necessary tissues. Thyroid hormones oversee energy consumption during reconstruction, and cortisol controls inflammation to avert excessive reactions. Every molecule circulates in the blood, conveying information about scheduling and scale. This results in a synchronized effort, enabling the body to mend as a cohesive entity. This equilibrium can be disrupted by stress, tiredness, and poor diet, causing systemic imbalance. Recuperation and diet help re-establish the proper rhythm. The body's internal chemistry is a continuous dialogue among cooperative partners, not isolated organs, all participating in the timeless process of regeneration. Estrogen accelerates the process of wound healing. It improves circulation to the injured site, increases collagen synthesis, and aids the movement of skin cells required to seal the wound. It also assists in managing inflammation, making sure the initial immune reaction concludes promptly. Research indicates that injuries mend more quickly and result in less scarring when this hormone is abundant. Besides its reproductive functions, estrogen also preserves the flexibility of blood vessels, maintains bone density, and facilitates cellular dialogue. Healing may decelerate during menopause as levels decrease, but this can be counteracted by nutrition and rest, which support the same biological pathways. This hormone symbolizes regeneration, balancing resilience with gentleness and defense with poise. Estrogen reminds the body that healing involves renewal, not just mending, a restoration of form directed by the continuous quiet thread connecting life's phase. Testosterone may decelerate specific healing mechanisms. Testosterone promotes development, power, and stamina. However, it can also moderate the speed of recovery. Elevated levels may inhibit the immune reaction, diminishing inflammation prematurely and thus postponing tissue mending. This explains why male wounds might heal slower compared to female wounds, where estrogen assists the process. Nonetheless, testosterone serves a vital stabilizing function by preserving muscle and bone density, both crucial for enduring resilience. The system perpetually adjusts these hormones according to the situation. Their behavior is influenced by stress, activity, and diet. Testosterone doesn't just help or hinder, it regulates healing to save energy and stop excessive reactions that might cause chronic inflammation. This demonstrates the body's sophisticated intelligence, showing that mending prioritizes long-term sustainability over mere speed. Each hormone contributes to the overall equilibrium, directing energy toward SG toward balance, adaptation, and persistence. Insulin-like growth factor plays a key role in stimulating tissue repair. This factor, known as IGF, is crucial for cellular regeneration. It is secreted in reaction to growth hormone and prompts cells to multiply, specialize, and form new structures. Following an injury, IGF levels increase in the affected region, aiding muscle regeneration, bone formation, and even nerve mending. It also facilitates collagen synthesis, reinforcing the newly developed tissue. The concentration of this factor increases during profound sleep, highlighting why rest is crucial for recovery. A diet providing adequate protein and natural carbohydrates sustains its operation, enabling the body to mend effectively. IGF functions like a supervisor, managing the cellular agents of repair. An imbalance, too little or too much, disrupts the process. Its exact regulation is a testament to nature's sophistication, where every signal operates on a precise schedule. This molecule embodies the quiet momentum of growth itself. Adrenaline constricts blood vessels, which can impede regrowth. During perceived danger or stress, adrenaline courses through the body, heightening alertness and readying the system for response. An immediate consequence is the narrowing of blood vessels, which redirects blood to essential organs. This is beneficial in critical situations but can hinder healing if the stress is prolonged. Impaired circulation results in fewer nutrients and immune cells reaching the tissues that require them. Persistent adrenaline exposure over time can obstruct regeneration, causing wounds to heal more slowly and making energy recovery more difficult. The aim is not to eradicate stress, but to dissipate it once the situation has resolved. Methods like deep breathing, rest, and mild activity assist in relaxing vessels and normalizing blood flow. The body is designed for alternating periods of tension and relaxation, not continuous high alert. Mending naturally restarts when tranquility is restored, illustrating that stillness is as vital to survival as activity. The heart secretes healing peptides in response to stress. The heart possesses self-protective mechanisms even when strained. If blood pressure or fluid volume rises, the heart secretes peptides known as natriuretic factors. These substances relax blood vessels, alleviate fluid retention, and lessen the strain on the heart muscle. They also impact the kidneys and hormonal balance, synchronizing the body's efforts to regain equilibrium. These peptides also possess subtle mending properties, fostering vessel repair and diminishing inflammation. They function as the heart's internal preservation mechanism, a chemical signal of its capacity to recover from strain. Medical researchers are investigating ways to utilize these substances to manage heart failure and high blood pressure. The heart therefore acts as both a motor and a protector, furnished with its own healing mechanisms. Every period of exertion is met with a corresponding signal for relief, preserving its endurance through precise self-regulation. The immune system operates on a 24-hour cycle. Immunity, like the rest of the body, adheres to a daily schedule. White blood cells exhibit peak activity during specific periods. Inflammatory responses and antibody creation fluctuate according to daily cycles tied to daylight and darkness. This cadence ensures defense and mending occur at the most opportune times. While sleeping, the immune system switches to a maintenance phase, assessing the day's events and readying for the next. Interrupting this rhythm with inadequate rest or erratic habits confuses the immune network, impairing its response. Aligning daily routines with these natural cycles bolsters immunity, enhancing recovery from sickness or harm. Even medical interventions like vaccinations show greater efficacy when timed correctly. The body's internal clock resides in every cell, not just the brain, aligning immunity with the planet's broader cycles. When synchronized with the day-night rhythm, healing becomes a well-timed interplay of defense and regeneration. Cortisol levels increase at daybreak, signaling the conclusion of the nightly healing phase. This hormonal surge marks the end of intensive mending and the shift toward wakefulness. Throughout the night, repair processes are maximized, but cortisol gently reduces this activity, ensuring there is no excessive reaction. It clears out surplus immune cells and recalibrates the body's energy use for the upcoming day. The balance of this hormone is crucial. An excess can hinder healing, while a deficit can leave inflammation uncontrolled. Adhering to regular sleep schedules helps maintain this essential natural rhythm. While often seen as a stress hormone, cortisol, when balanced, functions to maintain order, concluding one phase of daily renewal and initiating the next. Every dawn is a cue to finalize the night's mending and start the day with renewed capacity. Vitamin C is indispensable for the synthesis of collagen. the body is unable to correctly form collagen, the protein vital for skin, ligaments, and blood vessels. Without an adequate supply of this vitamin, vitamin C functions as an essential partner for enzymes that reinforce collagen strands, providing them with durability and elasticity. It also bolsters the immune system and counteracts free radicals that might harm tissue during the mending process. Unlike many other species, humans cannot synthesize this vitamin and must acquire it from their diet. Historically, a lack of it resulted in scurvy, a condition where old wounds would reopen. Today, vitamin C is recognized as crucial for every step of repair, from skin closure to bone mending. It is found in high amounts in immune cells and adrenal glands, serving both protective and restorative roles. Its function highlights that healing relies on a balance between internal chemistry and external nourishment. Zinc is a trace element that assists in cellular proliferation during recuperation. When tissue damage occurs, this mineral is fundamental to the repair process. It supports enzymes involved in DNA replication, permitting new cells to form and substitute damaged ones. Zinc also reinforces cell membranes, mitigating oxidative harm during inflammation. It aids immune cells in combating infection and prompts fibroblasts to synthesize collagen, reinforcing new tissue. A deficiency in zinc can lead to lingering wounds and impaired immune function. Since the body maintains minimal reserves, consistent dietary intake is necessary. This mineral cementally facilitates countless microscopic acts of regeneration, holding the essential pattern for restoration. Protein serves as the fundamental substance for regeneration. Every mending action is dependent on it. Its amino acid chains contain the directives for repair and the components for new structures. Following an injury, the body's need for these materials increases as it utilizes dietary sources to build collagen, enzymes, antibodies, and muscle. A lack of sufficient protein impedes wound closure, weakens immunity, and compromises tissue strength. The system prioritizes mending, diverting resources to where they are most needed, sometimes slowing hair and nail growth in the process. Protein is not just sustenance, it is an active participation in the body's constant renewal. The food consumed is transformed into the physical story of recovery. Wounds mend more slowly if iron levels are insufficient. Iron is vital not just for oxygen transport, but also for fueling collagen synthesis, supporting immune cells and driving the enzymes that power repair. A shortage of iron deprives tissues of oxygen, causing the healing mechanisms to decelerate. Symptoms like fatigue or wounds that fail to heal often indicate this deficiency. During mending, red blood cells must deliver oxygen to the rebuilding cells, a process that relies on iron. Restoring iron levels, whether through diet or supplements, reactivates the regenerative rhythm. Iron is the essential mineral carrier of life's breath. The microbiome educates the immune system to maintain a calm response. The gut's ecosystem is in constant dialogue with immune cells. This training, which starts at birth, helps the immune system learn to differentiate between genuine threats and harmless substances, thereby reducing needless inflammation that can obstruct healing. A balanced microbial community leads to smoother recovery. These microbes also generate compounds that soothe the nervous system and fortify the gut lining. This internal harmony is influenced by diet, sleep, and emotional states. Healing is a cooperative effort between our bodies and these unseen microbial partners. Probiotics can hasten recuperation following antibiotic treatment. Antibiotics are life-saving but can disturb the body's beneficial bacteria. This disruption can impair digestion and increase inflammation. Probiotics help re-establish equilibrium by reintroducing species that calm the immune system and aid nutrient absorption. These beneficial bacteria synthesize vitamins, fortify the intestinal wall, and transmit calming chemical signals system-wide. They lessen inflammation during recovery, fostering a peaceful internal state conducive to healing. Natural probiotics found in foods like yogurt and sauerkraut repopulate the gut. This process gently and profoundly retrains the immune system to act with precision. This ancient human-bacterial partnership continues to define the healing process. Persistent stress impairs the immune system's effectiveness. When the mind registers a threat, it floods the body with stress hormones for survival. If this state persists, these hormones begin to hinder immunity. Immune cells become less effective, inflammation persists, and mending decelerates. The body remains on high alert, unable to allocate resources for rebuilding. Chronic stress diverts energy from healing to vigilance. Consequently, minor injuries may heal more slowly, and infections might occur more often. Inducing calm reverses this state. Deep breathing, adequate sleep, and stillness lower cortisol, permitting the immune system to recover. This demonstrates the deep link between mental peace and physical mending. The body heals best in a state of safety, not tension. The brain and the immune system are in constant dialogue. It was once believed these two systems were distinct. We now know they communicate continuously through molecules and nerve fibers. This allows emotions like stress, joy, or hope to influence inflammation and immune function. Positive feelings can send signals that boost defense and mending, while anxiety can impede them. Specialized immune cells in the brain, microglia, even modify mood and memory based on this chemical dialogue. This relationship is reciprocal. A healthy mind aids immunity, and balanced immunity supports mental clarity. Every emotion leaves a physical mark, directing cellular activity. This mind-body partnership is a biological reality, shaping every aspect of recovery. Emotions affect the speed at which an injury heals. Healing involves both chemistry and emotion. Research indicates that individuals feeling supported, hopeful, or calm recuperate faster from injuries or medical procedures. Negative feelings such as anxiety release stress hormones, which narrow blood vessels and inhibit immune function. In contrast, joy and tranquility widen blood vessels and hasten tissue mending. The body registers the mind's emotional state. When the heart feels secure, circulation improves, inflammation drops, and cellular coordination enhances. This link is so potent that merely recalling a pleasant memory can slightly raise skin temperature, indicating better blood flow. Emotions are translated directly into biology, affecting cellular results. This shows that comforting thoughts and kindness actively support the body's healing process. Optimism can reduce inflammatory indicators in the bloodstream. Individuals with a hopeful disposition exhibit lower quantities of inflammatory agents like C-reactive protein. This outcome is both measurable and reliable. Optimism impacts the brain's management of stress hormones, maintaining cortisol balance and immune efficiency. Hopeful people tend to recover more rapidly from medical procedures and sickness. The very act of anticipating positive results alters physiology, such as increasing nitric oxide, which benefits blood flow. The biochemistry of optimism is biologically grounded. Positive thinking promotes vascular flexibility and a steady heartbeat, fostering an internal environment that supports mending. Even minor shifts toward appreciation can initiate this beneficial cascade. The body mirrors the mind's outlook. Believing in recovery helps create the conditions for it. The physical act of laughing promotes circulation and enhances immune capability. It is a biological symphony involving the contraction and relaxation of muscles. The lungs take in oxygen, and the heart rate briefly accelerates before stabilizing. This sequence boosts blood flow, eliminates stress hormones, and elevates the activity of natural killer cells, which guard against infection. Laughter also prompts the secretion of endorphins, the body's inherent pain-relieving chemicals. These substances reduce tension and cultivate a sense of well-being that persists after the laughter stops. When humour is shared, it reinforces social connections, bolstering the emotional frameworks that hasten recovery. The entire experience acts as the body's cheerful rehearsal for healing. Even forcing laughter without humour can elicit the same physiological benefits. The body doesn't require a justification to smile, it only needs the physical action. Within that motion, the body's chemistry adjusts toward equilibrium. Every laugh acts as a vitalizing breath, moving through the heart and blood like a gentle remedy. Physical touch decreases the body's output of stress hormones. The warmth conveyed by touch is a signal more ancient than speech. When trusted skin-to-skin contact occurs, the brain secretes oxytocin and lowers cortisol, lessening the strain on the heart and immune system. Gentle contact decelerates breathing, reduces blood pressure, and pacifies the vagus nerve, which links emotional states to organ operations. Medical facilities that integrate practices like massage and therapeutic touch observe quantifiable gains in both recovery rates and patient comfort. Even fleeting contact, such as a hand on the shoulder or a comforting hug, can redirect the entire physiological state toward tranquility. The skin is populated with millions of receptors sensitive to pressure, texture, and temperature, each relaying messages of security to the brain. These signals spread through all circular systems, converting the biochemistry of stress into the biochemistry of mending. Through touch, the body recalls its bond with others, and in doing so, finds the serenity needed to heal. Meditation can help lower blood pressure and facilitate healing. Stillness initiates internal changes in the body. During meditative states, the heart rate diminishes, blood vessels dilate, and the brain's electrical frequencies shift into harmonious calm patterns. These adjustments decrease blood pressure and boost circulation to tissues that require mending. Consistent practice lessens inflammation and improves the functioning of the immune system. It also reforms neural pathways associated with fear and stress, building a resilience that extends beyond the meditation period. The quiet experienced in meditation is restorative, not empty. It allows the body's internal rhythms to realign. Each unhurried breath guides the body's chemistry closer to harmony. Over time, these physical benefits accumulate, manifesting as measurable improvements in heart variability, hormonal stability, and emotional composure. In the tranquil center of the mind, the body accesses its most profound repair, illustrating that rest is as potent as activity in the healing process. Gratitude engages brain areas associated with regeneration. When appreciation is genuinely experienced, the brain shows increased activity in regions linked to reward, empathy, and cognitive function. This activation mitigates stress reactions and heightens parasympathetic activity, which fosters recovery. Reflecting on gratitude reduces blood pressure, balances glucose levels, and curtails the generation of inflammatory substances. It redirects focus from what is lacking to what is present, conditioning the brain to perceive safety over threat. This rewiring eventually becomes ingrained, cultivating a persistent state of calm that aids physical recuperation. Even the simple act of noting moments of appreciation can modify neural activity, signaling to the body that all is well. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a state of physiological coherence. In the basic recognition of goodness, the body gains authorization to rest, restore, and flourish. The heart and mind achieve synchrony, and healing ceases to be an objective, becoming instead a natural condition of existence. Deep breathing alters the biochemistry of stress hormones. Every breath functions as a dialogue between the physical body and the brain. When inhalation is slow and profound, pulmonary sensors dispatch signals to the nervous system, indicating a return to safety. This results in a reduction of cortisol and adrenaline, which are supplanted by an increase in endorphins and serotonin. Blood pressure diminishes, oxygen levels in the blood improve, and inflammation starts to wane. This type of breathing also enhances heart rate variability, a primary indicator of resilience. The diaphragm's movement gently stimulates the lymphatic system, assisting in detoxification and fluid movement. In just a few minutes, the entire body transitions from a defensive posture to a reparative one. The profound power of breathing is concealed in its simplicity. Utilizing only air and focus, one can influence the chemical environment for recovery. Each breath out dispels tension. Each breath in invites regeneration. Intentional breathing is not merely relaxing, it is a fundamental and readily available form of biological mending. Heart rate variability provides insight into your recovery capability. The slight timing differences between consecutive heartbeats offer deep insights into one's health. A high degree of variability suggests the nervous system is adaptable, capable of transitioning effectively between states of alert and calm. Conversely, low variability indicates persistent stress, weariness, or health issues. This nuanced rhythm reflects the body's capacity for adjustment and mending. When calming activities such as measured breathing, adequate sleep, and feeling gratitude enhance this variability, inflammation diminishes and recuperation quickens. This metric is employed by professionals in athletics and medicine to gauge resilience. The heart's cadence tells a continuous story of equilibrium. It requires responsiveness, not uniformity. An adaptable heart rhythm signifies an adaptable system, one that navigates challenges gracefully. The subtle indications within heart rate variability are the very rhythm of healing, showing that health is defined by the fluid capacity to move between exertion and peace. Neuroplasticity is the mechanism that allows the brain to mend following an injury. The brain has a remarkable talent for self-modification. If neurons are compromised or lost, adjacent ones can establish new routes to compensate for the lost function. This trait, known as neuroplasticity, facilitates recovery from injuries and conditions once deemed irreversible. This adaptation is fostered by repetition, dedicated effort, and sensory input, all of which assist the brain in relearning. The mechanism is gradual, steered by both chemistry and persistence, and it is a lifelong process. Even in maturity, new neurons develop in specific areas, integrating into existing networks. Every cognitive act and life event subtly alters the brain's internal structure. Mending, in this sense, involves both physical and cognitive development. In moments of concentration, neurons forge new connections, creating new frameworks of understanding. The brain's adaptability is its assurance that mending and learning are facets of the same phenomenon. Mirror therapy is a technique used to help retrain nerves after a limb is lost. Following an amputation, the brain's internal representation of the body often persists, which can lead to sensations, including pain in the absent limb. This therapy employs a mirror to visually trick the nervous system. By observing the reflection of the existing limb, the brain interprets it as the one that is missing, thereby revising its internal model. This visual feedback helps restore coordination and can alleviate phantom limb pain. The brain gradually restructures, quieting erroneous signals and reinforcing correct ones. This treatment illustrates how sensory input shapes physiology and how perception can modify pain. Through this simple method, the nervous system assimilates the reality of the healed state, allowing equilibrium to be restored. What starts as a perceptual illusion fosters genuine recovery, demonstrating that healing can sometimes be achieved by altering the mind's perspective to match the body's completeness. The body retains physical imprints of trauma. Emotional experiences can leave marks within muscles, posture, and breath. When trauma occurs, tension locks into tissues through patterns of stress hormones and muscle contraction. Over time, these stored memories may manifest as pain, stiffness, or fatigue. Gentle movement therapy and mindfulness help release them, allowing energy to flow freely again. The process is both biological and emotional. As muscles relax, the nervous system interprets safety and the body lets go of vigilance. Scientific studies confirm that trauma can alter cellular signaling and even gene expression, influencing health long after the event. Healing means restoring communication between body and mind, allowing suppressed patterns to dissolve. As the body softens, awareness returns. Every stretch, every sigh becomes an act of remembrance and release, transforming pain into understanding. The body never forgets, but it also never stops offering the chance to begin again. Healing can release old cellular stress patterns. Inside every cell, stress leaves subtle traces. Proteins misfolded, molecules oxidized, energy stores depleted. When healing begins, those patterns are revisited and cleared away. This cellular cleansing happens through processes like autophagy and mitochondrial renewal. It is both repair and reinvention as the cell not only mends, but learns. Emotional release often parallels this biology as the nervous system sheds outdated patterns that once served protection. The body rebalances, the chemistry quiets, and a new equilibrium forms. Sometimes fatigue or vivid emotion accompanies this phase, signs that deep restoration is underway. Healing is not simply erasing damage, it is rewriting memory. Each cell once burdened becomes lighter, more efficient, and more alive. Within this quiet transformation, the entire organism realigns with its natural rhythm of vitality. The process reminds us that to heal fully is to remember peace on the smallest scale imaginable. Healing is the body's most ancient language of life. Before thought, before speech, before even consciousness, there was repair. Every cell on Earth carries within it the instinct to restore what is broken. This impulse predates evolution's complexity, stretching back billions of years to the first forms of life that learned how to persist. Healing is the foundation upon which survival stands. It is the translation of experience into adaptation, of injury into wisdom. Each scar, each renewal is a phrase in that universal language. Across species and centuries, the message remains the same: continue. Within this conversation, life speaks to itself through chemistry, rhythm, and light. Every heartbeat echoes the same declaration uttered by the earliest cell: I will go on. Healing in its truest form is not an act of fixing, but of remembering. It is life recognizing itself and choosing once again to begin. As we drift toward the end of this quiet journey, let yourself rest in the gentle truth that healing is not a single moment. It is the soft rhythm that continues beneath every breath. Even now, as you lie still, your body is at work in silence. Cells are rebuilding, nerves are rewiring, and the pulse of life is moving through you with perfect patience. Healing does not always announce itself. It is found in the moments when you exhale completely, when you forgive yourself for being tired, when you remember that rest is not idleness but an act of trust. Every heartbeat, every dream, every small sigh in the dark is a note in the body's quiet song of renewal. You are not the same person who began this night. Somewhere deep inside, chemistry has shifted. Tension has loosened its grip. Your body knows what to do, and it has never forgotten. Even when pain feels endless, even when fatigue whispers otherwise, the will to mend remains steady, ancient, and sure. So let your thoughts drift like slow clouds. Let your breath lengthen and your shoulders soften. Feel how the air moves in and out, effortless and alive. That is life continuing its promise, weaving you back into the balance, one calm moment at a time. Healing has been with you since the very beginning, written into every cell and carried in every drop of blood. It asks only that you listen, that you rest, that you allow the world to hold you as you are. If you enjoyed this quiet journey, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, close your eyes and let go of the noise of waking life. Let stillness settle over you like a soft blanket. Feel your body ease into its own rhythm, calm and complete. Sleep well and good night.